Nothing.
What?
Nothing.
Anytime I'd be seen, hi, I didn't see you early today.
My hours changed slightly. It takes me, I get off 45 minutes later. So I get here an
Have
hour
you had
later.
something to eat?
Yes,
Okay. Because I know you usually have your dinner. Now get your notebooks out and you come on up closer. Where is all of our class? My
I'm
goodness.
taking a lot of Sarah.
You're taking for Sarah.
Yeah, Natalie's sick.
Oh dear.
She's got whatever that flu is.
I thought her name was Nathalie. Nathalie.
I always say Natalie.
Well, she allows that because it's easier.
Oh, she never corrected me.
Well, I doubt that she would. She's a very polite lady. Wouldn't you like to come up and be with us at the party? And Hazel, how about you?
Oh, I really like sitting here because I can see you there.
Well, you can see me fine from up here.
But there's, please can I stay?
You may stay there if you like, and so may you, darling, if that's where you want to be. It's okay. Antisocial, both of them.
I know what it is. I'm not even that road right now. I couldn't deal with it.
What is it?
It's sort of like when you get your spot, if you move from one side of the room to the other side of the room, it's...
Oh, I've had people come in and look at someone and say, that's my chair. I've had that since we began.
Right.
If the people that usually sit in front come to class tonight, I wouldn't move.
Oh yeah, they're really.
I mean, they're into this, and I'm not so into it. I'm more into that. But
You want space between you and me, is that right? What an altitude. Okay, this is Mike Scott, and he's doing what many people, I really expected Scheherazade to be here tonight, because she came in for a private last week, and she had just come off of a European tour, and she says, the middle range is wonderful. I don't know what's happening up here and down here, but it's not going well, and so she was to come to class last Saturday, but she couldn't make that, and this class is doing the same thing we were doing on Saturday, with concepts. That's what we're talking about tonight. And one of the reasons we're doing that is because you get to a certain point, and you people are at that point where, don't you want to sit in the chair? No, you don't like chairs, you like sitting on the floor. I do too.
Should I sit on a chair?
Well, no, I always just, I think I'm funny because I sit on the floor when there's a beautiful sofa to sit on, and I lean up against the sofa because I'm a floor person.
I just like to spread out. But if it's like, if you like
No,
to
no, it's okay, it's okay, it's okay, if you're comfortable, because I can understand that. But you see, my place is more comfortable because it's a real sofa and lean against. And so, that's why I like sitting on the floor, because I'm basically a peasant.
Well, then I'm a peasant.
Okay. Let's all be peasants. Now, so at any rate, Scheherazade came in, and I said, darling, you've got to come to this class, and let's get some, I asked her the same questions I'm going to ask you, and she didn't answer them very well. We get to a point, at a certain point of advancement, where we do the exercises. Do you know what I'm talking about? We quote, do them. You hear me say on the tape, he down, and I play blah, 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 and you go, he, I'm gonna call Sarah, he, oh geez, I must remember to get my clothes at the cleaners. And all these thoughts go, blah, 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 and you just pace along, then come to yow, and you do the same thing, yow, and you just, you don't really think what you're doing. And in the interim, you do them very well. Everything's fine at first. But little by little, things go a little bit wrong. And you know it isn't right, but you know how it should sound in your head when it's right. So you duplicate the sound. You go back and fix it, which is why you're here in the first place, right? From fixing things to make them sound like you think they should sound in your head. But what you hear in your head is not what's coming out your mouth, and verification of that. If you go back to the first tape you ever made, what was your first reaction? That doesn't sound like me, and everybody says, Yes, it does, and you want to kill yourself. Because in your head it sounded much better than what you manufactured that's coming out your mouth, right? So, if you had a problem with, let's say a mathematical problem, it was very primary. What's 4 times 8 or something, you balance. You wouldn't go back to your math teacher and tell her about this problem you were having with multiplication, would you? Because your math teacher did a good job. In other words, you don't have to go back and ask someone how to do that. Now that's a slightly different but very similar, because if I do a good enough job, you're going to be well aware of all the concepts that you need in order to do a good job with what you're doing, right? Yes. The difference between singing and anything else in the world is magnificent, because this is the only thing that you have no contact with the action. In other words, a guitar, some of you play guitar. The teacher can say, no, you're fingering that improperly. Do this, because the teacher can see what fingers you're using. The piano teacher can say, no, not 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, thumb under. Both the student and the teacher can see there's an error. With dance, and you're doing a kick and it's like this, and she says, no, point your toe, not at the ceiling, darling, straight ahead. Now straighten your knee out and turn it out. You can look in the mirror and say, oh my God, that did look pretty strange. You can see the problem, what's wrong with it. If it's tennis, these are all exterior things, external things. But with the singer, everything you do is hidden from you as far as the parts that are working, right? You can't see your vocal cords. You can't see your lungs. You really have trouble seeing your tongue, right? So as a consequence, everything you do is a mental concept. You have to have a mental picture of what you're attempting to do. And as you know, if these things are done correctly, you're getting results with your voices, aren't you? Good things are happening. They should be. But because we really aren't firm, as you will see in a moment, on all of the things that you were told and that were discussed in the learning of these things, you get a little lost on the way. And so I have found we need to do some discussing about concept, so that when you're in Keokuk, you don't call me, which I had happen. And the little girl's coming in next week from, what's her name? Oh, good grief. Oh, she's losing it. She's from Texas, oh God, ridiculous. You know her. Beautiful girl. She and her sister worked together and they just recorded oodles of stuff in Nashville. It's going very hot in the summer.
Yeah.
You know who I'm talking about. She's so darling. Anyway,
I can't remember her name. Lori?
No. Roberta Morales from Dallas. Roberta Morales is coming in at 5 next week for this very same kind of thing, to pull that back together, because she says, we've been in the studio so much and on tour so much, things are slipping, I need some help. Things are not going smoothly. And what she's going to get is exactly what you're getting. She'll be here for 3 days, taking 3 hours, one each day, because that's all you can stand when you're taking privately. And that's even tough. An hour of private, half hour is usually all you can manage, and you don't get that much done. That's why this is so great, because somebody else can be up here making mistakes. You see the corrections, you go to school on it, you swear you won't do that, but you come up and do the same thing. And then it takes you a week to, I see what I'm doing wrong. So this is why I have decided you must have a good understanding of all of these concepts, so that when you're in Keokuk, and something goes wrong, you can pull out your notebook and say, now what is wrong with the way I'm doing this? Why isn't it flowing as it should? Okay? Now we're only going to talk about the first 3 exercises tonight. Number 1, he down. Write that. Like he down. Now I want you to tell me everything you know about he down.
Placements written?
What, pardon me?
Written or verbal?
Verbal, right now. What do you mean by placement?
The placement of the air,
Which results in what?
the vibrations,
What about that? What do you think to do that?
to keep it,
You think blow the air into the gums?
Right, you think blow the air into the gums, right? Okay, that's one thing. Write that down. And right after it, to achieve a vibration. Now let's say you blew the air into the gums and you said a nice he, but it really didn't give you a buzz. How would you get that vibration? What would you use to secure the vibration?
A lot of air.
Well, a lot of air, yes, we need a bunch of air to blow in there, right? But I've given you little crutches. Pardon me?
Smile.
Lee. Yes. You would use an L. All of you sit up straight, take a good breath, and think, I'm going to blow this air right into my gums, but I'm going to say, lead me. Go. Lead me. Get a good buzz? You see, what happened? Say, lee. Lee. What did the tongue do?
it drops down behind
The tip went clunk.
Right,
What did the back do? It went right up against those upper back molars. So you write that down. You write tip of the tongue behind the front teeth. Lower front teeth, right? And against the upper back molars. And if you have any difficulty with he, use an L. And for a couple of days, on the first he down, or the first he ooh, use the L, lee, to secure or resecure that position. We get very secure about the he, and we just do it, you see, instead of thinking, what am I after? I'm after that vibration. How do I get that? I've got to blow the air into the gums, because the air carries the vibration of the vocal cords, right? You're not after a sound. Who would want the sound you get on an E? That's enough to break leases. You know, be asked to move from your apartment by the neighbors on both sides. That's pretty ugly stuff, isn't it? Yes. So why would you want to listen? That's self-abuse. Get a whip. Whip yourself. But don't charm yourself by listening to that E. Now what else do you have to remember? Smile. Oh, not smile. Oh, gotcha. Gotcha. Smile. Everyone say it. Smile. Yes. And if you have a problem, I hope you've written down, use lee. Because that forces the back of the tongue up against the molars, right? And the tip behind the teeth. Now, remember also, you're not going to brace that tongue. At all times, the tongue should feel like a piece of uncooked liver. Is that ugly? Ugly, ugly. When I was a little girl, we had liver at least once a week because it had iron. And then later they discovered that the liver is what eliminates all of the poisons from your body. So having liver, you're really eating. But it was good. You know, my mother made it super with onions and mountain mushrooms, you know, sauteed with a bit of wine. Oh, God, I love it. But I don't.
Like it then?
Oh, I loved it. Oh, my mother was a cook. I mean, that was her profession. She was a homemaker. And she should have been making a salary in the neighborhood of 6 figures. I think any homemaker deserves that kind of salary. She did very well until the Depression. And there was a problem with everyone. However, my dad was one of the 3 builders and contractors and architects in the state of California that did not file bankruptcy. Yeah. He was holding 36 second mortgages for people he dealt with, and paid every one of them off. Very honorable man. Very, very, I was blessed with a great mother and a great father, and a fantastic grandmother who was wiry as hell and ran the whole shebang. So, and they all had long lives, and I'm grateful to say that. At any rate, back to it. Tip of the tongue behind the teeth, but not braced, right? The tip is not braced. It's laying there. It's like a piece of uncooked liver. It's very slimy. You've all seen it. But the back is braced up against the upper back molars, isn't it? You're directing the air that carries the vibration right into the gums, and you're going to smile like mad, right? Like just a cat. This is tight. That's the problem. We're saying to the tongue, the tip of it, you relax. Now I want the back of you to be uptight, and I want you to smile. And you see where we're giving all kinds of different commands, aren't we? We're requiring tension in certain parts and relaxation in other parts. Yes? And that's important to remember. Now, from there, where do you go? What do you think? Now you've got the first E. You got 4 notes. What are you going to do?
Come down on top of the note.
What do you mean come down?
Slide down.
Slide. And as you slide, you're going to keep the vibration during the slide, aren't you? Yes? Mm-hmm. And you are coming down to the top of the note, right? Now, those are the important things, right? Tip of the tongue, back of the tongue, smile, blow the air into the gums, which results in a good vibration. Use the L if you need it to establish the E.
Push out the air from here.
Well, they haven't had that second exercise yet. See, we're just on green moon and stuff like that. Well, no, we're past that. They won't get that, see, in a couple of weeks. Maybe, not next week, but the week after, we'll go to the fast day.
Fun stuff.
The fun stuff. Yeah, you can come and stay for that too. I'll put you to review it. Okay, got that?
Got that.
See how I rule?
Iron fist.
There we go. So, do you understand about he down now?
Yes.
What are you doing?
Trying to push my tongue down.
You can't do it. No, that'll gag you every time. We will have other things to learn about the tongue. You don't want a flat tongue, remember that. People think, and voice coaches will say, flatten your tongue. Or if you flatten, you can't because it lays in the jaw, and the jaw's on an angle. If you flatten your tongue, you're going to be pushing part of it down the neck. And that's what gives you a terrible sound. And makes you gag. So the back of the tongue, even on an ah, the back of the tongue is a bit higher than the front, isn't it? Because the back doesn't open as widely. And ultimately, the thought is, it's just going to go with the jaw. That's when it gives up, pressing up against those upper back molars. Now, let me say one thing about that. I'm very adamant about that pressure of the back of the tongue against the upper back molars. However, you know that as you open the jaw, the tongue relaxes and goes with the jaw, doesn't it? And it just lays there and goes along for the ride. When it closes, it comes back up against that upper back molar again for the oo, right? But when you're singing, and you sing the word like, I, you are at the point now where you close and say, I, and the tongue comes into place. Is it pressed? No, it's not tight up against the upper back teeth, is it? It just touches, but it would not have touched had you not taught it. This is where you go. And when you sing, lead, just sing it. Lead. Where's your tongue? The tip is down, the back is up, but it's not pressed, is it? Do you see? Because you have taught it. When I sing an E and I close my jaw, that's where you better be. But it's not. Lead. You see, there's no tension there. And that's why all of these exercises you've had to work so hard for, to force the tongue to learn what you expect when the jaw is closed. Do you understand? Now, is that clear on the E? Yes? Now let's talk about the second exercise. He, ah, or, u. Excuse me. What do you know about that?
Well, the first thing is that you should be thinking of doing the vowel that you're on while you change the position of your lips.
Well, the first
you're
thing you have to
holding-
think about is that E. I'll tell you something that you all did. And the smile, don't forget, write smile on that he. You know, on the he down. Oh, big smile. Jessica. When we first started working on he, I had you speaking it and then speaking it and singing it, and with much pressure behind it, right, to get that air through, to get that vibration. Yes? Now, where was I going with that? Oh, and we got to the point, it took several weeks with he down. If you recall, I think I gave you 5 of the little series the first week, then I added on a couple, then I added on a couple more, right? Then we came to E to F. Oh boy, everybody gave me a whole different E. Like this is a different thing, so it's a different E. Do you remember that? And there was this struggle again to reproduce that same E on here that you had on the he down. So it was a matching set. But of course, I got a different E. It took a couple of weeks to instill that idea. Pretend you're going to do he down and give me the same he. Now, starting with the E, what do you have to think about on just the E? Everything you thought about on the he down. So that that E is the same E on he, ah, or, oo, as it was on the he down. And there's very little, if you put that he down in shape, there's very little chance really that you're going to duplicate, that you're not going to duplicate that E. Do you understand? If you've done good thinking about your he down, then you're going to stick to that. When we first started it, it was like it was a new thing, so, oh, we're going to do something different. So instead of getting he, I got he, okay, we're singing, oh boy, we're going to do the same. So you want the same he with the same buzz. All of the previous things you've written apply to the placement of the vibration of that E. The tongue, the smile, the whole thing, right? Now, going from E, he, to E, what is your thought?
Have the
Oh,
feeling
not hold the
Hold
E.
the vibration.
Feeling.
Maintain the
Yes, hold the feeling of the E.
As
Right,
your
feel it.
jaw opens, but you're holding the feeling of E in the placement.
That you're trying to keep that vibration. Now you know that never, well, sometime down the line, quite a ways down the line, you'll get, and I'm sure you're getting a sort of vibration on the air now. It's not like the E, it's not as intense as the E, because as the jaw opens, there's more room for the vibration to vacillate, you see, to spread out, so you don't have an intense vibration. That will increase over a period of time, but it will never, ever be as violent as the E itself. Do you see? Because it's wider and those vibrations spread out. But you're going to try like mad to keep that vibration as you sustain the feeling of the E. Don't think I'm holding E, because if you think I've got to hold E, the back of the tongue is going to stay up. It says, you want that E? Okay. E. Remember that?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. And then you finally became disturbed, and you said, he, and it went, right? Yes, do you remember that? I'm sure you do. That was a horror for a long time on E to Air when we finally did the triad with E to Air. Oh, boy. Remember? Because we had to change pitch on it as well as change vowel. Okay, so you've got your E. Now, what do you think as you're going to your air? Number one, I've got to keep the air directed into the gums, right? And I'm going to open my jaw, keeping the vibration as I open the jaw. Yes?
The tongue stays with the jaw.
Yes. Right behind the teeth, right?
Yes, but
The-
not raised, but just behind.
No, just laying there so you can feel those ridges with the tip of the tongue. Every vowel, the tongue plays no part in any vowel. It just lays there like a dead piece of meat and goes along for the ride. The tongue only performs consonants, right? And we have all kinds of consonants, as you know. Back of the tongue, tip of the tongue, center of the tongue, lips. There are only how many that are singable? 4. And plus NG. L, M, N, R. Right, which is really a consonant because it's a tongue action. And none of the others can be sung, can they? They're all plosives. They explode. Right? Yes. Okay, so, going from E to air, your thought is I've got to keep that air coming. Now there was a little trick about the third time that we worked E to air. I suggested a change in concept. Do you remember what it was? Because you were thinking, keep a straight line, which you are going to continue thinking. The air and the pitch, the vibration is going to stay right behind those upper back teeth, the upper front teeth, while you're slowly opening your jaw. But I gave you something to help you. Do you remember what it was?
Does it increase the air?
Ah, yes. And that should still be in your consciousness as you're working E to air. Because we get to the point where we say, and particularly when we get to the fast tape, here, we just do it. Do you see? You will, even though we're going to go to the fast tape and our first high exercise very shortly, you will still do the slow tape twice a week for some time. Then you will do the slow tape once a week, forevermore. And I mean forevermore. Once a week. And you will read your notes once a week as you do each exercise. I'm saying this because if you don't, you will. What do they do in that thing? If you choose to do this thing, and the tape will explode afterwards.
Mission Impossible.
Mission
Should you choose
impossible.
to accept this mission?
Should you choose not to, you will explode. So- Yes, yes, yes. So, the feeling of increasing, not the air, but the pressure. Why did we do that? Now, you know you cannot increase the air, don't you? Hmm? If you really increased the air, what would happen to the pitch?
Goes out higher.
It will go sharp. So, by thinking of increasing the air, you counteract the tendency to back off to avoid that crack. That once you get that that thing, there is a terror that it's going to happen, that it might happen again. And this thought of I'm going to increase the pressure counteracts the tendency to back off, because that's the first thing the singer wants to do. If I back off, I can go around by way of China and avoid that glitch. Right? Anything to avoid that crack. So you counteract that by thinking I'm going to increase the pressure, and you really wind up with just the same pressure. Did you write that down?
That applies to almost everything. That concept right there, it seems.
Well, once you get past the E to F, see, it's very easy for us to understand E and ah. The biggest problem is understanding air. We use it all the time, but are not aware of it.
I'm thinking of the concept of thinking of increasing your air and or actually increasing your air
Mm-hmm.
can push you through.
Well, yes, if you're going for a higher note, you do actually increase your air. But if you're doing E, ah, or oo, where you want to maintain that placement into the air, in order to avoid the natural instinct to back off and go around to circumvent any crack, you think increase the pressure, and that helps you keep the placement, and you don't back off. Because singers consistently want to do he, do you see, to get to it without breaking, yes.
Another danger too is the fact that sometimes we'll back off and we know that it cracks right there, so we'll immediately it'll go right into the throat and we'll start protecting.
Fixing it.
Yes.
Fixing it. And there can be no fixing it. You cannot fix it. You fix it with the concept, I'm going to increase that pressure, and that will keep you safe forevermore. Okay? There's another place where we use the same thing, isn't there? Going from aw to oo, because there again you have the whammies, not the Grammys or the Bammies.
Oh, I have a question.
Yes.
Speaking of Grammys.
Oh, please.
Did you tape it? Did you tape it?
Yes, you don't want to see it. Oh, God.
What did you not like about it?
You mean, why don't you ask the other question? What did you like about it?
What did you like about it?
I thought Celine Dion did a great job. She was certainly not welcomed. I thought they needed more security. They had
Oh, yeah.
Soy bomb.
Bob Dylan, Soy
And then
Bomb.
there's also the guy
Well, they
who-
shouldn't have had Bob Dylan on there anyway, stoned out of his gourd. I mean, he was in the studio, for a minute and a half.
Okay, I have a question.
Yes.
Pavarotti was supposed to be there, and Aretha covered for Pavarotti.
She did a fine job.
She did. I thought it was incredible.
I really wanted to
I thought it was
see that.
incredible.
Well, it was incredible that she could do it. I didn't particularly enjoy the way she did it, but I thought it was
Yeah,
incredible
but
that
just
she did.
considering that she stepped in last minute.
Yeah, and sings out of tune generally.
She had some dancers behind her.
Thank God. I don't know why everybody has fits over the Spice Girls, because they sing just as in tune as anybody else on the show. In fact, a little more. At least they looked groomed, they're cute, they're young, they're vital, they're smiling, they're happy. And as far as the rest of the show is concerned, it was, fast forward, 2 bars of that, oh God, go ahead. It was, it's just ludicrous. I'm sick of looking at people who are dirty. I am bored to tears with it. And we have no more respect for their profession. and to come in there looking like they've just come from piling the manure behind the shed.
Was there anybody that you really liked?
I liked the Spice Girls. I thought they were cute, alive, vital. They were groomed, well choreographed, and of course everybody says, I don't like things that are so well rehearsed. Oh, you want to see somebody in the raw? Fine. Then look at the bomb, you know. It was, and where was security? Where was security?
Why did they
When the
need
soy
it?
bomb guy came out?
The
They didn't
someone
have a
guy is
plan.
one of the guys.
Shows how
from
bad the
Wu-Tang
security
came
was.
out.
They won't be
Bob
hired
Dylan was
next year
playing and
because
this guy came out.
Well, you know what he was from? He was from one, he was just.
Will
telling
someone
one of
tell
these-
us
one of
what
these
happened
little
with
slacker
With what?
People that were behind
Will
us.
someone tell us what happened with what?
Yeah, we have, no, we didn't see it, so
I
you
didn't
guys,
see it.
so.
Well,
in the paper.
Bob
Got
Dylan
so-
is doing his thing,
Right,
stoned out of his tree.
uh-huh.
I mean, those eyes, nobody's home.
looked like he was in from a
And-
crypt or
Well, honey,
something.
he's
Dark.
bombed, and this guy comes out with, he wasn't nude, at least he didn't streak. He took his shirt off, and he has written across him, soy bomb.
Oh.
And then,
And he's doing.
and he's doing all these gyrations and just, and Bob is singing, and this guy's dancing up a storm, with a very active pelvic bone, and the rest of it, actually, had some good muscular control. No, seriously, very good, if you want to go in for weightlifting or whatever. And Bob is singing, and this guy is doing this thing, and nobody's doing anything about it. It's very distracting for both of them. They should have been both taken off the stage and let the cuties come on.
It would have been funny if the guards took Bob Dylan off stage.
Well, I don't think he could walk. I mean, he was so bombed out of his gourd, and then they gave him Album of the Year. Swell.
Wow.
You said briefly he was in the studio here? You worked with Bob?
For a minute and a half.
Shortly, okay.
Very short minute and a half.
Long
Not even one lesson.
It didn't seem like.
Did he bail or did you kick him out?
I kicked him out.
Because he was drugged.
That among other things, and he was an arrogant asshole. That's enough to do it. I mean, why bother with people like that? When a mind is so filled with drugs and self, it's like you fill a cup to the top, it's full. You can't put anything more in it. And when the head is so filled with ego, I mean, if conceit were consumption, he would have been pushing up daisies then. Arrogance, like he was bestowing his presence upon me. Go, be gone. You know,
He wouldn't
No.
have retained it anyway.
oh hell no, it's like that brain's like a sieve. Anyway, we won't talk about that. That, he was one, and then there was another one, only one other, who offered me a joint in the studio. Oh yeah, Paul Kantner. That did it. Out. Oh, and I did,
I can see your face.
what?
I would have loved to have seen your face.
No, you wouldn't. You didn't either.
Johnny Mathis was another one then.
Yeah, well, there was a problem with John because he was very difficult. And I wanted to take him because of Anne, who owned the Black Hawk. And I had all the great acts and had done so much for him. He eventually turned on her too. This is not helpful. This has nothing to do with you kids. So at any rate, the Bammies, I don't think they should even have them on. There's nothing there that is productive. All it does is denigrate the business and make anyone who is in show business, you automatically assume they're either whores, pimps, or drug abusers. That's, plus the fact, the worst thing, I mean, I can stand the whores and the pimps and the drug pushers, but singing out of tune.
And that's Judy.
I'm not such a prude, but
At least the horse and the pushers, that's an honest living.
Yeah, at least, and then the other thing is, I can respect a whore because at least she has some value for her body. She doesn't hop about from one bed from another, she gets paid for it. there's at least some respect for herself. Whereas other people I know just
Singing
dead
out of tune,
hot.
now that's just
Pardon me?
intolerable. Singing out of tune is intolerable.
Well, that's, I'm sorry, that's unforgivable. The other things I can pass by, you know, but out of tune, no, no. So, now are we done with that?
Yeah.
Good. So, at any rate, it was really, if you want to see it,
I have a copy too.
I wanna
well,
see
bring it in and loan it out.
I can bring it in.
You can have mine and pass it around. It's the Grammys.
Grammys.
Yeah, the Grammys. It is really was, it's an insult to anyone in the profession. Well, because it makes, the general public assumes that anyone in this business is of that caliber. And I don't think anyone in here wants to look like those people, behave like them, be a party to that. It certainly is not conducive to good. In fact, two stations, Channel 5 now and Channel 9, Channel 5 and 7, at night, have the news, you know, the news. Now we have sex advice to married couples on the news. What the hell does that have to do with the news? But is that, I guess they need to boost their ratings.
Yeah,
So a little sex dropped in there, maybe people will watch and get a few pointers on how to do it better. How good can it get? Very good. Onward. Here, here. Well, she is naughty. But, not the Princess Papuli, who just loves to give it away. You know that song? The Princess Papuli has plenty of papaya. We're talking about papaya. She just loves to give it away. I like that tune. So, do beyond time to like.
My uncle used to always sing that too.
Really? It's a great tune. Cute song, really. Cute song. And that's like, it's better than taking in washing. I know a girl who's kept up in a flat. It's better than taking in washing. Each night a different hat's on her hat rack. It's better than taking in washing. Now she may do things not regarded as, she may do things not regarded as nice. Virtue is fine. If you don't get your price, it's better than taking in washing. Anyway, I blew that line. It's cute song too. It's pertaining to the same thing. At least there's some bit of subtlety to it, and if you understand it, you have no reason to be critical. Where did you learn it? Now, onward. E to air is the really big one, right? If E to air is right, and you're thinking, I must keep this vibration, this straight line of air, but I'm going to increase that air as I open to the air to keep that placement, then you're home free because you do understand, air is the really sticky widget, because we are not aware, as I'm sure you are now, of how many airs we use. It's the most used vowel of all, isn't it? You discovered that in analyzing your songs, did you not?
Yes.
You have
Yes.
o, a, forms thereof. So it is very much used, and it's a vowel we've never heard of, we don't know where it is, that we neglect. Neglect. Do you see? We use it, and we're not aware of it. Besides, it's spelled in a dozen different ways. W-H-E-R-E, W-E-R-E, W-E-A-R, W-A-R-E. Do you see? So who knows what it is? But to us it's a sound, a very valid sound, that air. And coming to grips with air is very difficult, and this is why every time you do E-A-U, you better think through it well. Don't just do it. Quote. Yeah. Okay? So you have E to air, and you're going to think, keep the vibration, right? Keep the air full bore. Get that pressure behind it. Oh, there's air. That should come as a surprise, like a shock. Because you're thinking, keep the feeling of the E. Not the E, but the feeling of it. And open the jaw. There's air. Now what are you going to think?
Feeling of air.
Keep the feeling of the air, and that air is still directed in the same place, and open your jaw. What happens when you open your jaw? Hmm? The tongue goes with it, and what do you get? Ah. Now, what else are you going to remember about E? Smile. And you're going to smile all the way through E, and ah, aren't you? Once at ah, what do you think?
Lips.
Just
Shut
the
your
lips.
lips.
Oh, yes, just the lips, but what are you thinking?
Thinking ah.
I'm holding ah. I am never going to sing anything but ah. I am the only person in the world who can hold ah and jut my lips and still have ah. If you think ah, you're doomed because the back of the tongue is going to curl and you're going to drop your placement. And you wind up with ah, oh, right into the goblet. Are you taking Junior for a walk?
Yeah, I wasn't thinking about it.
You weren't. Well, think about
Doesn't
it.
look like it.
I'm sure he doesn't want to, but he should. What are you doing? Did I? Oh, well, I'll pay for it tomorrow. So please. Oh, bless. Now you see, good guy. Huh? Sweet. I told you so, I told you so. Now. So, you're going to think, I am holding ah, and be startled when you discover ah happens. You're going to remember, in working on the slow tape, jut the lips slowly, right? Don't make an abrupt change, because every time you move your lips, your tongue thinks it ought to get to move. That was the problem with it. And that's why you had to think ah with all your might and jutting your lips. Now you're at ah. What are you going to think now? You're going to hold the feeling of ah, that same feeling directed at the gums. Ah, not ah, oh. Do you see? And you're going to close the jaw. Which part of the jaw do you close?
Back.
The back of the jaw. Now write that down. If it's very cold out, he might want his ski sweater.
It's not that complicated.
Okay.
You'd rather not go out this way.
Well, he does have a ski sweater. He has boots too, but he won't wear them. Well, one tries, you know. It's very difficult. If you take him out and he doesn't have his raincoat on, he has a yellow slicker raincoat with a hood, and he doesn't have it on, then you have to blow dry him, and you just hyperventilate. It just takes forever.
Judy, will you please repeat the last thing that you said about when you're at awe?
I don't
You're thinking-
remember.
you
I wasn't
know-
listening. I just said it. I wasn't listening to what I said.
I was glued on it, but I was
What did I
writing,
say?
I was
Said
writing
slowly
fast,
close
slower
the-
than you were speaking.
Slowly
I'm sure.
close the jaw.
Slowly close the lips to the aw. Is that
I
what?
got that.
You got that?
And then you said you think we're approaching the ooh.
Yes. Now you're going to think what?
That's
What are you going to think?
You're gonna think holding the feeling.
I'm holding the feeling of the aw. I'm not going to change my lips. I'm going to close my jaw, taking the tongue with the jaw. Now, what part of the jaw do you close? The back. And you must always keep that in mind. When you go from an open vowel to a closed vowel, you close the back of the jaw, you bite. When you go from a closed vowel to an open one, eh to ah, or e to ah to eh, or e to aw, e-aw, you're opening the front of the jaw, right? Okay, so you're going to close the back of the jaw, returning the tongue all the way back up to what? The E position. Yes? Yes. And you're not going to change the lips. The lips remain jutted, not pursed, jutted. They're forward. Ah. Now what do I want to see all the way through this exercise?
Smile.
Ah, thank you. What teeth? The lower teeth, the top of the lower teeth, because our tendency is to do ah and pull the lips in, and then when we start to go from ah to ooh, we want to make the ooh with our lips. Watch, children, we tend to do this. Oh, leave your lips hang open like a giant blowfish. They're jutted forward. You should see your bottom teeth, the tops of them, not the gums, but the tops on oh, as you close. Do you see? And also the top teeth. You should see the bottom teeth all the way through. It is very important to get that lip under control, because it does want to come up. And particularly when we're trying to protect a sound. And we do try to protect sounds, you know that. So you're going to feel like you're going to leave your lips wide open, which you cannot do. They're attached in such a way that when you close the jaw, they close. Do you see they go with the jaw? And they're in the same, they just shrivel up. Look. You hear what? Horses can leave their lips open and close their jaw. You know that. We can't as humans. They're attached in such a way that if you close the jaw, the lips are going to come with the jaw. But the singer must be aware that never do those lips come in and close off like a mute. Right? Now you're never going to stand in front of an audience and sing an You're never going to sing an unless you're singing a French song, or a German song, or a Swedish song. Right? You're going to sing ooh, but you're not going to sing ooh, which is the typical thing for Americans to do. You understand that? Okay? So you're going to be consciously aware all the way through that your upper teeth and your lower teeth are displayed. So you don't have a tendency to close in. Right? Now, going from ah to oo, if you remember, was more difficult really, physiologically, than e to air. Because you're all the way open, and now you're saying close. We must remember, we close the back of the jaw. I want you right now, all of you, on this note, sing ee-ow for me. Just sit up straight and do it. Good buzz now. Go. Now smile. Where are those teeth? You're closing your lips. I want to see your teeth. Show me all.
Oh.
Now you keep those, oh, you take this mirror, Michael. Right, now that's a good job here. Get a mirror. Now you leave those lips out there. I want to see the inside of your lips. You are all wonderful. And this is why we're reviewing this. Because that's what happens. Terrible things take place. Okay, show me on to ooh, Michael.
Oh.
Why don't I see your teeth?
Oh, I see him.
No, you... I don't see him as you start to close.
I want to see him doing this.
Don't look at me, look in the mirror. Michael, why do you hold the mirror up and look at me? Now you look in the mirror. Go. Do you see your teeth? Do you see your teeth when you closed your jaw?
See the top and bottom.
No, you don't. You got your lips covering. Go again.
You want it bigger?
Now I want those lips way out here. Oh, show me those. Wait, hold on.
Okay.
Look in the mirror. Now I want to continue to see those teeth. Look in the mirror. Close the jaw. I still want enough room for a small, not large, Havana Cuban cigar. Okay? I want you to look like a blowfish. Do it again. Way out. Look in the mirror, Michael, or I'll break your jaw. That's a very good vibrato, little one. Go again and look in the mirror. Now you see, you're singing ah. I want you to pretend you're holding ah and jut your jaw, and jut your lips. Do you see what I'm talking about? Oh, that's why you're here writing this down. Do you understand?
Yes.
Now, I want to see those lips come forward like an orangutan. Way out there. I want to see inside of your lips and your teeth. I even want to see your gums. Well, I might see the teeth if he attempts to show me his gums.
Well, you'll see what I ate last night.
I've seen that. Go. Now wait forward, Mike. No. You're singing the ah, oh. I want you to think I'm going to hold ah. I am never going to please this woman, so I'm going to hold ah and show her that I can do that and jut my lips. Now I'm going to come over and use your face for a moment.
Uh-oh.
And you look in the mirror. Get that up. Now keep it there and start closing. Look in the mirror. Do you understand?
Yes.
You can forget the aptitude. You can get that corrected. He's putting together a whole show and it's tight and lovely. Do it by yourself now. Now way out. Keep looking here. Keep doing. Look there and keep that lip out. Now, do you see where your teeth are? Sing E. Are they right together? Your teeth? If you put them together, you're going to get a shock in the brain from the vibration. Say Lee. Look in the mirror. See the space here? Now I want to see that much space when you close to the ooh. And I'm going to leave my finger here. Now do it.
I want to bite that means.
Yes, you did. If you act like polish, you're in trouble. Do you see where I want your lips?
Yes.
You work with a mirror. And you look in the mirror.
Yeah, I have been concentrating more on the feeling without the mirror.
Yes, the feeling, and the feeling is fast disappearing. Was that good for all of you to see? She really turns into the Wicked Witch of the North. Yes, she has a black heart. If I didn't care, would I go after you that way? No. Why am I getting my blood pressure up? Now, do you understand? These are the things you must remember, because then you start to sing. You're never going to stand in front of an audience and do, I love you. But you're also never going to sing, I love you. I love you. You're still soft and kissable, not tight. And they get that way from working both these muscles and the lip muscles. Do you see? And this is imperative. And it is imperative that you write down everything that we discussed about this exercise. Now, if that ooh is right, all you have to do is think, I'm going to hold E, I'm going to hold ooh, and smile. and it turns smiling. See, hanging out with wrong people.
I know.
Oh boy, Michael, you did that. You know, as a matter of fact, and hey something, when she came in tonight, it's a smile. Then she.
I'm Gladys.
Oh, you're Gladys, my God. Why do I want to call you Hazel?
She is Hazel. She is Hazel.
Well, I didn't write down.
She's teasing you. I couldn't resist, I'm sorry.
That was, she's quick.
Well, let me tell you,
She learns from you.
Gladys is a hell of a singer too.
Oh, she's the best.
I'm sorry, I couldn't resist that.
So is Hazel.
Yes, it is.
Yes, all right.
Judy doesn't like
Why
it.
do you want to confuse me at my age? I'm confused enough. I'm doing stuff for my tax accountant and attorney. Oh, good. You may be visiting me and you know where.
You mean H-E-L-L or G-A-I-L?
No, what is that prison outside of Seattle?
Okay.
The one that rhymes with hell.
All right.
No, jail doesn't really. Anyway, I've lined up with that woman from, who was it they put in jail, the hotel woman?
Oh, Leon.
Oh, wouldn't we be a pair?
That would be,
Really wild.
Really wild.
you would give her.
We'd have a hell of a good time.
Yeah.
And they would soon release us both. Get rid
Get
of
rid of
her.
them. Get them
All right,
out of here.
now, you're never going to sing that in that way. But this is the only way you're going to gain control of those muscles. So when you do sing, I love you, is that I love you, and drop the jaw and close the lips. Do you see? So this works, because when you are singing, you're not thinking about this. By this time, those muscles are intact and they're working for you without you thinking about it. Yes? Yes. Okay. How are the R's and L's? Yes,
I
darling.
just wanted to hear something. The tongue should always be flat on.
Pardon me?
The tongue should always be flat. So going from E to N,
Flat?
well, on your lower teeth.
It should be against the low, oh, you mean,
Against the lower
should
teeth.
lay on top
Lay on top.
of those bottom molars, yes.
Exactly.
Pardon me?
Yes, that's
Yes,
right.
because they're in this, the tongue remains in the same position all the way through
Okay.
as on the E. And this is what's so difficult, because when we get started going down, the tongue wants to pull in.
That's, yeah.
And it should feel like, I think you came in a little late, and I told them it should feel like a piece of uncooked liver looks. That sloppy, dead thing. The tongue has absolutely no function on a vowel. It only functions for a consonant. Darling, I'm trying to talk to her and you're right in her face. Right, she has a pretty face too, you all do. Lovely skin, I hate you all, no wrinkles. Well, I fought for every one of these wrinkles and I'm keeping them. That's my excuse for not getting a facelift. Besides, well, I won't say what I was going to say. Anyway,
Oh, say it.
hmm?
Oh, serious?
I would have a very deep hole right in my chin. If they pulled up all that skin. There's so much of it that's loose there. I mean, really.
No.
Oh, yes, you have no idea what's underneath all this gear. Now, do you understand what your thoughts are on E-L-R-O now? This is very, very important. Do you have it all written down?
Yes.
Like a goldfish. Maurice Chevalier, lower lip. We need to breathe into this. Yes, very soft. Tight here, soft here. Do you see, we're giving so many.
Wait, stop, is it tight here, soft
here,
here?
soft here. And I started to say, we're giving so many contrary orders. We're saying, I want this to be tight, I want this to be soft and mushy. Do you see? We say, I want this to be tight, but the tongue to be relaxed. I want this to be tight, but the lips to be soft and mushy. Those are contrary directions, contrary orders you're giving your body. And they are orders that the body must comply with for you to sing and sing well. And they have to be trained to do that automatically. Do you understand? And they will be, I promise you. You're probably noticing by now that in your singing, if you're doing any performing, that things are happening automatically. Some things are beginning to happen automatically. Are you noticing that? That without your thinking about them. And what we must do is, this is the next part of what we deal with, we must get to the point where we infect our speech with what we have learned in singing, so that we correct the way we speak. And this becomes apparent when we start working, which is not too long from now, on subplots, where you're standing up here and delivering lyrics, speaking them. Like, why try to change me now and give me the simple life? And people start saying, what was the one, oh, there's many in Why Try to Change Me Now? They did a session of that this afternoon's class. I sit and daydream. I sit and daydream. That does not seem well. Besides, people will deliver, I sit and daydream, I got daydreams galore. What was the other mix? Why can't I be more conventional? People stop me, stare, so I try. So why try? So why try? It isn't so why try. So why? So I try. You see? So I try. That has to be a thought in your head. So I try. Not so why try. But that's not for me. But that's not for me. For. Everyone got up here at some point and said, because I get, so let people wonder, let them talk right now. Don't you remember? Don't you? Good night. I was, why try to change me? Why try to change me now? Me now.
Me now.
What does the word now mean to you? You say, why try to change me now? What would now mean? After all this time, wouldn't it? But what does me now mean?
I need milk.
Cream! Creme de la creme! Which is a great place to eat it. I'm sentimental. I'm sentimental. I'm sentimental, so I walk. So I walk. Do you see? We must correct our speech. And particularly today, I have a much more difficult time with this, with young people today, because everyone is so uptight and so in a hurry that they speak very badly, and all of that impacts their singing. And they speak very quickly, like it's almost diarrhea of the mouth. Well, true, because, and there again is a lack of self-respect, because if you're going to say something, I trust that you think what you're going to say is important. You're not just, wow. They speak so quickly, and what we don't realize is that we may know what we're going to say, but the listener or the audience does not. So you have to give the audience time to assimilate what you're saying. That's why when I make a very important point, I slow down to the next speed is stop dead, so that you hear and can assimilate what I'm telling you, as opposed to, so you can hear and assimilate what I'm telling you. I really want you to pay attention, I really like that does not make it, but we all feel so pressed. That's why we have road rage, we have people driving 90 miles an hour like it's, the sun's out and they're cutting in and doing all kinds of dreadful things because they're so frustrated and so angry. And so spread a little joy. Speak slowly, lovingly, and kindly, and give them a chance to know that you're speaking slowly, lovingly, and kindly. Even if you're giving them hell. Yes.
That reminded me, they were interviewing Michael Landon, and he was talking about his, when he would audition for a part, that he would slow down, pause, and then he'd go into a whisper, and this is how he said he passed all his auditions, because he would slow it down, make it very clear for the person auditioning him to hear what he had to say, and then he would use the effect of way down. Reminded me of that. So
Yes.
that was his
That
technique.
to
That was
hold
his
them because they
method.
want to hear them what he says. Very clever psychological. People will listen. They can't hear you if you shout. I can't hear what you say, what you are speaks louder. Right? And this frenzy of speech, and we all fall heir to it if we're not careful. So this is another area that we will be dealing with. So when you deliver a lyric, you deliver it about the same tempo that you would be singing it. And you don't do, I'm sentimental, so I won't move. I've got some habits even I can't. I start as a corner, but they don't even do that. I'm sentimental, so I walk in the rain. I've got some habits, even I can't explain it. I start for the corner and concerto with Spain. Why try to change me now? As though they'd rehearsed it for 4 days and now they're saying it for this person. You see, this is a spur of the moment dialogue. We'll get into that before long, because you kids were at the subplot thing and we're going to be using it, and I mean using it. Now, is this clear as far as EAU is concerned? Yes. Now let's talk about yes, dear.
One more thing. Actually, the top teeth are always showing?
The bottom of them are always showing, and the top of your bottom teeth. If you pull them in any way, then they act as a mute. So they must be, you must be free with your lips, so that the lips do not create a blockade for sound. Okay? Does that answer the question? Yes. The most important two exercises of the whole shebang are he down and he u. Those two are what we built E triad, open to air, and project on. The only new thing that you learned in the third exercise is how to approach going to a higher note. I didn't say a high note. I said to a higher note. You don't think I'm going up to it, you think I'm going out. Even if it's sky high, that's still your attitude. But we have different placements for that, which we're going to be getting into very shortly. Isn't that nice? In a couple of weeks we're going to the fast tape. And your first high exercise.
Is on the fast tape?
Mm-hmm. Yes. And you will be shocked at how good you are and how much you've learned, how far you've come.
Will all of the exercises be on that tape?
Pardon me?
Will all of the exercises be on that, or will we start again?
All of them will be on, no, you have a slow tape already. This will be a separate tape, the fast tape. And you'll be using the slow tape on the low exercises twice a week. And then I will put the high exercises as we take them onto the low, so that on the days that you do the low eases, you you still can do the highs. Do you understand? Well, you see, we're going to have fast eases.
All of them on both tapes, was it fast?
All of the exercises are gonna be on both tapes.
Yes.
When you give us the fast exercises, will we again be doing a build-up, or will we get all of the exercises at once?
No, you'll be doing a build-up. We have, excluding the very first little exercise that you're going to be doing, which you could do right now and is kind of fun and a little surprising. You could handle it. Maybe I'll let you do it. Maybe I'll let you do it, just for fun. There are 3 serious business, fundamental, high exercises. They will take you almost as long to secure as all of the lows. Not quite. And you'll be learning all kinds of other things while you're dealing with those. But they're to build the structure, the top. Okay? They will take you a while. Then when those are achieved, we move them up. We make them higher. And we also have 3 what are called the stress eases, which are extremely difficult and take time. And then we move everything up. So, you ladies, you want to do something fun?
Yeah.
Okay, stand up. Then we'll talk about E-triad, open to air, and project. But that's built on what we already have, isn't it? Except for the thought of out and back. Okay, and what we're going to do is a really simple thing. Say Lee.
Lee.
Say Lou.
Lou.
What's the difference between an E and an U? Just the
lips.
lips. So you can say U, 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 U. Now put an L in front of the E and an L in front of the U. Lee, Lou, Lee, Lou, Lee, Lou, Lee, Lou. Now here's the 2. Here's the 2. Lee, Lou, Lee, Lou, Lee, Lou, Lee, Lou. Got it? Do it. Go. Lee, Lou, Lee, Lou, Lee, Lou, Lee, Lou. Okay, again. Lee, Lou, Lee, Lou, Lee, Lou, Lee, Lou. Come. Lee, Lou, Lee, Lou, Lee, Lou. Get a big breath. Lee, Lou, Lee, Lou, Lee, Lou, Lee, Lou. Shout. Lee, Lou, Lee, Lou, Lee, Lou, Lee, Lou. Shout. Lee, Lou, Lee, Lou, Lee, Lou. Big breath. Lee, Lou, Lee, Lou, Lee, Lou, Lee, Lou. Big breath, go. Lee, Lou, Lee, Lou, Lee, Lou, Lee, Lou. Come on. Lee, Lou, Lee, Lou, Lee, Lou, Lee, Lou. Go. Lee, Lou, Lee, Lou, Lee, Lou, Lee, Lou. Come on, one more. Lee, Lou, Lee, Lou, Lee, Lou, Lee, Lou. That's an F above C above.
That last one was really hard.
You broke up on it.
I got
You
scared.
could have done it.
I think I could have. That's good. Wow.
Well,
That was fun.
is that fun?
Yeah.
It's a great exercise because the E pops the L pops the vowel out, and it goes so fast you don't have time to think about it. In fact, I've had people start giggling because they know they're hitting the note, and they don't know how they're doing it. I don't know why, but the vocal cords are strong enough now. Want to do it again?
Yeah.
Sure, do it. And then we'll let you guys do it. What?
Get that high
I'm
one.
thinking of this as well out.
Yeah, just go for it. Just go for it. No, all you have to do is
Sounds
just
bad, don't cringe.
don't. It isn't that bad. You did well with it. Don't listen. Just do it. Yes.
I just want to ask one thing. When you're doing Lee Lou, you're not moving your tongue but up to the L and it's always braced between the teeth?
Well, for now, I don't care where it's braced now, but it's against the upper teeth, but not braced necessarily.
Okay.
But all that's happening is that tongue is saying Lee Lou, Lee Lou. It's flipping up and it comes right down behind your teeth. Did you notice that? Yeah. And the lips are going, and that's it.
I'm wondering if I'm doing this right. So the tongue is never supposed to be braced between the two teeth, just up against the tongue.
It's gonna be there whether you like it or not, and you don't have to brace it.
Okay.
You see, when you say leave, that's
But this is what I'm getting at. I think what I was doing was keeping the tongue between both the lower and the upper teeth.
no, don't worry about it. It's
But was
gonna,
I just supposed to be keeping it up against the top teeth?
no, you're not supposed to do anything. You're just supposed to sing an L, and it's gonna go right where it should go. That's all you have to do. Just have fun. Lee-loo, 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 lee-loo. Go. Lee-loo, 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 lee-loo. Big breath. Lee-loo, 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 lee-loo. Pounce on it. Lee-loo, 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 lee-loo. Go. Lee-loo, lee-loo, lee-loo. Breathe. Lee-loo, 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 lee-loo. Shout. Lee-loo, 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 lee-loo. Lee-loo, 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 lee-loo. Come on, yell at me. Lee-loo, 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 lee-loo. Go. Lee-loo, 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 lee-loo. Lee-loo, 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 lee-loo. Go. Lee-loo, 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 lee-loo. Now the falsetto in the bunch. Now the falsetto in the bunch. And that's high.
I did it that time. It was high.
Well, it's high for right now. Ultimately, you're going
Had to
higher
do
than
it.
that.
I have a question.
Yes.
When we did our B downs and
Mhm.
you had to slide down to lower and lower notes,
Mhm.
how come we don't need to slide it to higher and higher notes?
You do. When we go to the high notes, this is a hit and run proposition. If I asked you right now, you ladies, sing Lee on this note, could you find it? No. You can't. This gets you acquainted with it.
Where the hell is it?
Do you see? That's the beauty of it.
Did we just do
Now,
that?
yes, you just did that. That's the note you just did. I asked you to sing it, you couldn't find it if it was standing there staring at you. Because the highest note you have worked with in an exercise is that note, which is an A.
Do you attribute it to all the exercises that we've been doing?
No,
since
dear, I
training?
just think you're growing new chords.
Or is it just because we were, I know, solely, or is it just because we were adrenaline,
No.
tons of air? And
I couldn't have had you do this when you came in here. You would have cracked and choked and burned and had tears.
Maybe it was a dumb question.
No, it's the result of what we're doing. And it's also, little fools that you are, you have a certain sense of confidence in, I wouldn't lead you down the, primrose path. I wouldn't ask you to do something that I didn't know you could do. Now, you couldn't possibly get that note cold, not cold. And, but you will ultimately. Do you see? It shows where you've come from, because the note that you had a problem with when we started out was a full octave lower. Remember when I first gave you key down? We started on a G, and so I finally, when you first started, we didn't start on a G. We started on an F, which is an octave lower than that F. You couldn't have come, because you were yelling at me, that's too high, that's too high. Remember? When I gave you E, A, O, I didn't start you on a G, which is where you start now. I started you on an F. And you still, can't do it too high, because that's right where you wanted to change into a falsetto. And you went a full octave beyond that tonight, without any change. Now that's what has happened, is the chords have strengthened, the tongue is out of the way. This is a foolproof exercise, because your tongue goes exactly where it ought to go to let you do lee-doo. No change of your jaw is necessary, just
So it's like proof.
proof of where you've come from and where you're going. It should have been fun for you. You guys, up. Oh, they're gonna love it.
It was fun. It's
We
like-
have to do the work
I
of
feel like
1,
I
2, 3,
accomplished
4,
something.
5, 6, 7, 8
Well, you've
women here.
accomplished a great deal in the amount of time you've been in the studio, more than you realize. Didn't hurt, did it?
Does it have
And you didn't go into that fluke to, like,
Cool.
right?
Right?
That's all one voice. Yeah,
Was it?
that's because it's higher frequency. Yeah, now don't go home and try it, leave it alone. I just gave you a little fun to do, to just show
We'll be
you.
able to contact aliens and
Well,
It
you
was
better
fun to
look at
blast
the roof
that
tonight,
note
there
out.
may be a few out there.
It's a little wild.
Here we go, guys. Mickey Thomas time.
Above C above.
Yeah.
Mickey Thomas?
Not Mickey Thomas, Mickey, you know,
Mouse?
Mickey Mouse.
No. No, Mickey,
Spillane?
God,
Lebowski?
no, come on. I'll think of his name. He's a major singer. He's like Eric Martin. You know, and Jonathan King and all that group. Mickey. I had him in the studio for 3 years. What did you think I knew his last name?
Cantor?
Hmm?
What big of me?
Rock singer.
Mickey Jagger.
No, not. Oh, wow. Yes, I fixed his voice good. Anyway,
He juts real well.
that he does.
Jets
You think you
struts.
did?
That's loud.
Do you know the note that we hit, the highest note that we hit again?
An F above C above middle C.
Thank you.
Okay, that's the note that's on the top line of the treble clef. So you see, you are making strides, and I thought that would be kind of fun for you to do, to find out that you could do that. Wasn't that fun? Do you like that? Yeah. Gives you a little more confidence. Now, let's talk about E triad, open to add and project. Took the E triad. The immediate reaction was, you gave me another E. When we got the E down, oh, I was getting some goodies, and that goodies. And then when we went to E, A, U, you decided to give me a whole different E because you were anticipating the A. So instead of he, I got here. You were choking before we even started, you see? Instead of that same E, because you were scared of the A, you were anticipating the A, and we had to fix that E. And I was yelling, no, I want a real E. Brace that tongue, brace that tongue. Then when we came to E triad, I said, we're going to take this E on a triad. And your attitude was, oh, that. We went to a very high note. Oh yes, I'm going up. Oh my God.
We did.
And so I get a whole different E. Do you understand? Where you were screaming this was too high, you weren't screaming this was too high. You were screaming the whole thing was too high. Right from the get-go. And you learned you're going to slide, you're going to think, I'm going out to that E. Now write down everything you know about the E triad, open to add, and project. Number one, you want that good, firm he, that same old buzz, the one that you have on he down, right? And then you're going to do what? You're going to slide out like a trombone and back to the middle note, right? Then what are you going to think on that middle note?
The feeling of
I've
E.
got to keep the feeling of the sound of E and open to the F, keeping the placement of the E into the air, right? Yes? And again that thought of, I'm going to increase the pressure as I open, even though you can't and you will be reducing the pressure because it's a lower note. But your thought is, this is still going out there. In other words, your thought is, the ear takes care of the pitch. I've done a triad for weeks now. Remember how long it took us? But I'm going to really establish that middle note pardon, with a very firm E placement, right? And I'm going to stay right there. I'm not going anywhere. I'm going to sit right on this note and open my jaw, take the tongue with my jaw, and let my ear take me to the note, right? And I'm going to come on top of the note. Yes? Opening as you slide to the end, right? Are we okay? Clear? Okay? Then what do you think? I've got to keep the feeling of the E into the air, right? Now what are you going to do?
Slowing the jaw. Oh, are you opening to R?
No, we're doing E triad open to air and
Oh,
project.
Project.
So, and what are you going to do on that projection?
increase the air.
Increase the air, you're still going out, and you're sliding out and back, aren't you? Hmm? Do you have to worry about the pitch? Your ear takes care of that. What do you have to concern yourself with? Keep the feeling of the E as you push out and back, right? Keep the feeling, keep the feeling of the air now as you go out and back. You keep the feeling of the E on the triad, back to that middle note. Then you keep that buzz of that E, opening of the feeling of the E, opening to ear. Now you're going to keep that feeling of air and project it out and back. Right? And that is a difficult exercise because people worry about finishing it. And you must not worry about finishing it. You must say, I'm going to use all the air I need to go as far as I go. And that applies to every exercise you ever learn. Your concern is not with, can I finish it? Your concern is with keeping the placement, the tongue, the jaw, all of those quantities that we're dealing with, as they should be for as far as you go. Yes? Never concerned with, I've got to finish the exercise. Are any of you having trouble finishing E triad open to air and project? Not anymore. Not since we've been working on the songs. Right? And of course, your dahon and hon and all that good stuff, which works retroactively, doesn't it? All of the things that you've learned about the nasal consonants has helped what went before. But all of the things you learn have been dependent on what you learned before. This exercise goes up a bat out of nowhere. The E triad open to air. And if you haven't slid that, you haven't worked with it well, you're not going to be able to do what I want you to do. But you're going to be able to do what I want you to do. Easily. I'll try it. This is where I'm going in a couple of weeks. Stand up. Oh, you guys can do it with it. What you're going to do is take the E out, back, open, and out, and back. Okay, here we go. E,
Can we do it again?
why not? You're paying. You're the boss. I work for you. Go. Give me 2 glisses. That's called a slide. Gliss, glissando. I mean, it's fancy for slide. It's Italian for slide. Glissando.
So a double.
Give me a double gliss on the air. Go. Now I want you men to listen to the ladies. Go, ladies. Did you not hear every note? Listen, you hear every note. It's all there. But it isn't. Now listen closely. God's half acre that you're going to be able to what? Scat. You do what the ear says. That's how you scat. You don't you let the ear take you. And that's how you scat. But your placement has to be impeccable. Otherwise you wind up scatting out of tune, which is very embarrassing. Now you guys do the
But
same
then you
thing.
get on the Grammys.
What, dear? Then you get on the Grammys and get a Lifetime Achievement Award. Here we go.
I'll sing it.
There. Oh, these girls. I forget, okay. Go. Yeah. It's like a dead battery. Yeah. And every note is there. Did you hear that? Go again. Yeah. I don't want to see this. That's in the back of a car. No, I know.
Yo quiero.
How did it feel? I'm sure that was a shock to you that you hit all the notes without having to belabor them. Yes? And that's the ones that you screamed on. So
Is there any song out there now that has that, those specific notes that go up like that 2 times?
no.
So it's a song that you can just show that off with, you know what I mean?
You say, ladies and gentlemen, tonight I'm going to do a Judy Davis special. It has no lyrics, you make up your own. But the feeling is intense. It has soul.
It has soul. You try it with a double voice.
Yeah, you try it. You mind playing that, James? Okay, will you accompany me on that? But you see, you couldn't do that before because you would have manipulated each pitch. Do you understand what I'm saying? Inaccurately at that. This was right on the money. Do you see? And this is where we've gone so far. I think you should be very pleased with yourselves. Well, it gets to be fun now. Oh, you're going to belabor some things, and you're not going to be totally happy because you weren't happy to begin with, and now we're doing things that are going to be a new experience for you, and you're going to be, again, a little fearful and apprehensive, and therefore not all that happy. Okay? But if you do exactly what you've been told, which you have done, if you hadn't done what you've been taught, you would not be able to do what you did tonight. Do you understand? Everything you have done has brought you to the point where you men went to a C above middle C, which is what male singers call high C. They call that high C. High C actually is there. This is just C above middle C. Do you see? But men call that a high C. For the male range it is, and that's the note that Pavarotti just loves. And so does Placido. I mean, they screw up everything till they come to that high C, and then they take that breath and they hold another rise. Well, of course, with Pavarotti, his eyes, he looks like Willie Nelson, fish eyes. They glimmer a little bit, but Pavarotti's eyes glisten when he hits that high C. Now, Carreras hits it, and it's a piece of cake. No big. And it's perfect. And poor Placido with that tongue. On the tongue. But they're taught to do that, you see. That they're taught to pull the tongue back down the throat so it thickens the chords of some of them down the earring. And now it won't be too long before you can have vocal washes.
I noticed that cleaned a little bit,
Which
a
one?
little- The, reloop.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
but the vocal, if there's really it will, it jars it loose.
Yes, it blasted it off.
Was that fun?
Yeah, that was,
Is that fun? And you couldn't have come within a country mile of that when you started. You've worked so hard, and you've done so well, and I'm so proud of you, because I didn't do it. You did it. You did it. I could teach from now until hell freezes over. It doesn't mean a thing. You have to do it. So you have to be complimented, and I applaud you. You've worked hard, obviously, or you wouldn't be able to do what you just did. And I thought you deserved a little glimpse into what's up and coming, and a little shot at look what you've learned. Now the job is remaining truthful and consistent with what you've learned. When you do yours, we're going to soon be going into, I want one more lesson on all of the work songs with the R's and the L's, on Blue Moon, Don't Blame Me, Embraceable You, Moonlight in Vermont, I Only Have Eyes for You, and I Remember April. All of the R's and all of the L's in all 6 of those songs. Do you see? I want that, and I want to hear those next week, because we can do that. Then the week after that, we're going to bring a brand new tape, one you will never abuse. And we're going to do the fast Eezes. And you're going to love it, because you know how long it'll take you? Shall we tell them?
7 minutes.
Between 7 and 10 minutes at the max. And it'll be a wider range as far as low notes are concerned. We'll retake the fast, low Eezes, and you will, and the Lilu, and you will love it. You will! And then after a small word, we'll be starting the high exercises. And they will take time. But in between, before we'll get up to Lilu, then I'm going to have you working on Simple Life and White Heart, actually singing. Oh, very nice. And learning things like how to tag a song and the phrasing and all that good stuff. I mean, singing songs. See? Yeah. Yes. And real songs. Besides Don't Blame Me, Unbreakable You, all that. Now it becomes more pleasurable, even though the exercises, as Michael will tell you, are a little heavier duty. And they will take a little time to solidify.
When you do them, do you still use a mirror?
I would, and I'll tell you why, because we become sort of secure. And as you see tonight, why we did all this business about concept on just the first 3 Eezes. Those are the things that I will want you, on the days that you do the slow tape, to read each one of those before you do your he down. To read what you've written before you do he, ah, or oo. To read what you've written before you do the E triad open to and project on the days that you do the slow tape. For a while you'll do the slow tape twice a week, like on Monday and Thursday, or Sunday and Friday, whatever your choice is. I like a couple of days in between. Do you see, like Monday and Thursday would be good, Sunday and Wednesday would be good, Tuesday and Friday, so there's time in between times. So that on the days that you do the slow tape, you read those. Now the time will come when I will release you to the point where you do that once a week, religiously, and then you read it, so that it's constantly fresh. Because what we are about now is getting to the point where we begin to use what we've learned in singing with our speech, making those corrections. I had more furs today than you could possibly imagine. I'm sitting on also I walk and bring. I start with the corner. I start with the corner. And turn up. And Anne could turn up. Anne could turn up. In Spain. Why try to change me now? You see, we must learn to speak clearly and distinctly otherwise we continue to infiltrate back into our singing. And that's when I become a real terror, right, Michael? Make fun of me. Yes, cracks the whip. Bring out the cat of nine tails.
You mean you haven't done that?
Oh, I've been a dream. I've been an absolute doll up to this point. Really, see? You think you've heard, you ain't heard nothing yet. Out! Be gone!
You're banished.
Get out of my face! Well, because from now on you have to be committed, and you may well be, to an institution. Because you cannot now, once we start the high exercises, you're in my grasp. Because you don't dare screw up. You don't dare skip a day at work. Because the muscle won't take it. Will not take it. You'll find that out. Because you will cheat. Everyone does. But not once you've done it, yes?
There is one exception. You said, if you go on a vacation, take a real vacation in the true sense of the word, leave all this behind.
Right. Leave it behind. Don't expect to come back and find it where it was when you left. It will take some time rebuilding, and I will explain how to do that, how to go about it. But when you do take a vacation, take a vacation. If you're driving, you leave the city limits, leave it behind you, and look to the new city limits. Take a real vacation. Heck, but I'm not going to tell you that now. You take a vacation now, you take these tapes with you, and by God, you do your exercises. If they throw you out of the hotel, go to the men's room at the Shell station. The ladies' room.
And Judy, I did breathing exercises because I have a little timer. Oh, I got to do it now, and I stopped wherever I'm at, got out of the car, and I pulled into a parking lot, and I just started doing the exercise. And the person came up to me and said,
Are you all right?
"Are you okay? Do you want me to call an ambulance?" No. And then another time, a neighbor when I was singing said, "Is everything okay? Called up. Is everything okay over there?"
No,
Last year when I went to Colorado, we rented this condo and we stayed in the house with like 15 people, and I had to do my exercise, and so I'd go out in the car really early in the morning, close the door, roll up the windows, and
they
hope
could
that they
still
were
hear
looking, and hope that they couldn't hear me because they're kind of loud.
Yeah, they are. They are.
What
Kind
are you doing out there with your howl? Just hope they didn't look out the window.
One of the girls went to Canada, and she and her husband enjoy, going out into the woods. So, but he doesn't like vocal Eezes. He can do it on that. So she took plenty of batteries, took her tape deck, and they're in the wilds, and she's way away from their encampment, doing her vocal Eezes. And she turned around, and here's this bear, this grizzly, standing there looking at her. And she thought, no, they told her, don't move. Look him right back in the eye. But she did. And the heart's going 60 miles an hour. She thought she was going to have a heart attack. And they just stood there and looked at each other for about 3 minutes. And then he turned and walked away. I guess he thought, anything that sounds like that, you better not eat. It was a sigh of relief. She finished and she turned around, here's this bear.
I thought you were gonna say that she scared him away because of how scary the exercises actually
No, she had finished the exercise. She didn't know how long you'd been standing there.
Maybe he wanted singing lessons.
Could be. And
They have dancing bears. How about singing bears?
yeah, singing bears. What dear?
Did you hear knocking? I heard knocking.
I think George is emptying himself. Oh, he's locked himself.
Shut up in here.
What are you getting?
Came down from the mountains.
I got it. It's 3 inches shorter.
It's fluffier and, yeah,
Awful.
there.
Nice.
You don't like it?
So bummed.
Why?
It's What is it that you don't like about the volume? You don't like the volume?
I just,
Okay,
Yeah.
now do you think you learned something
It's
tonight?
just like this whole proof
Yeah.
thing.
Do you feel better than when you came in?
Yes.
Yes.
I guess you do.
Oh, here you did.
I'm very proud of you, very pleased, and you should be proud of yourselves, because you've done a great job. Good work. Okay? Thank you. If you didn't do it, I couldn't do me. Right? What would I do if I couldn't do me? I would be very
somebody else.
What? The maker of the product. Yeah. But it makes it look greasy. It just makes it so greasy.
well, you just use a little bit,
But it'll get it to stay down. I got it cut, by the same person who works with my hair. I said, all right, let's